What does it mean to meet your power with grace? To hold your life force without gripping it too tightly? Today we enter the realm of strength, but not brute force, but the quiet ferocity that lives within our breath, our boundaries, and our becoming. Hey friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Elizabeth and this is the More Intuitive Me. I'm a tarot reader and your companion on the path of self-discovery. Welcome back to the Fool's Journey. Today the Fool meets strength and the journey begins to deepen. This is the card of presence, breath, and embodied courage. This is where the Fool learns that softness is not a weakness. It's wisdom embodied. Let's take a look at the symbolism of the Strength card. One of the first symbols that we see on the card is going to be the lion, and that represents sheer strength and courage. It also represents our own primal nature, which we must learn to keep in check. Now, this is a card that is associated with the sign of Leo, so it is fire energy, and the planetary association is the sun. Here we have the lemniscate, and of course that is speaking to the idea of infinity or eternity, perpetual motion, and that feeling of limitlessness. Something I'm noticing mostly in this card here is this beautiful rose. Now, we've seen the rose before, that's speaking to passion and vitality and transformation, and she's completely decorated in them, as well as this beautiful wreath right here. The wreath is there to symbolize festivity, victory, and honor. Now, over here, we see a mountain, and it's right over here. I don't know that I have ever noticed that before. This is going to be speaking to challenges and obstacles, but also a reminder that we have the courage to tackle these things. The strength card usually has this like really lush green landscape, and that is to remind us the importance of grounding, and also to remind us that nature itself is resilient and we are a part of that. The symbols that we see here, they're meant to teach us that courage isn't loud, it's rooted, right? It's the ability to stay present with discomfort, to soften without collapsing, and to channel intensity into intentional action. In thinking of ways that strength shows up in everyday life, this could be perhaps saying no with love. You know, if you deal with younger children or pets, even, you've had to do that a time or two before. Holding space, you know, for grief or anger without being consumed by it, right? Choosing rest over the hustle, or speaking your truth even when your voice shakes, right? Strength shows up when you choose integrity over impulse, when you meet resistance with breath, when you honor your life force as sacred. Strength isn't something that needs to be proven. Here I'm going to show our traditional strength card, and this is the strength card from the lovely Om. And the reason I'm showing this is because this deck is thought based, and of course this is RWS, and you could see that here strength is 8 and here strength is 11. then some tarot decks, right, traditions, they place strength at position 11 and justice at 8. But I always see strength as number 8. That's just part of how I've learned tarot and part of my practice. And I feel like it offers a really powerful numerological and energetic alignment. So the number 8 symbolizes balance and mastery, sustained energy, right? Those are qualities that resonate with the archetype of strength. Strength carries this theme of inner power and breath based resilience, which mirrors the minor arcana eights. And those emphasize movement and recalibration and devotion. When you place strength at 8, it creates a smooth narrative in the major arcana because it bridges the lovers and the hermit with a card that centers around courage. When strength holds the 8th position, it reminds us that power is a practice. It's not a performance. It's the quiet, steady force that carries us forward. Let's take a look at the 8s. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, the 8s in the minor reflect movement, mastery, and recalibration. So here we have the 8 of Wands, right? The theme there is usually momentum or rapid shifts. And when you connect that with strength, it's like that idea of channeling energy with clarity. And then we have the 8 of Cups. It's an emotional departure, and we require quite a bit of courage to walk away from what was comfortable at one point. Then here we have the 8 of Swords, that card of like mental entrapment. And as you could see, she's bound. She has a blindfold. A lot of times these are self-imposed limitations, and it puts us in a situation where we have to tap into our strength, right? Inner resilience amid fear. And then the final card, 8 of Pentacles, right? This idea of skill building and this devotion to growth. The 8s are asking us, how do you move with purpose? And strength answers with presence, with breath, and with unwavering self-trust. Let's take a look at some card comparisons. Here we have the Strength card from the Simdala, and the keyword is ferocity. And I'm loving all of the oranges and the yellows in this card because again, it's kind of like that tie-in to the solar plexus, but it's also reminding me of carnelian. So I want to show you this. This is a palm stone carnelian. You could see that it has a lot of the same colors that we see here. Such a great stone for courage and for confidence and to help you do the thing that you don't feel like you're able to do. And that is the theme, right, of the Strength card. Now, traditionally, we will see cards, kind of along these lines here. A female figure, a lion of some sort of like wild beast. Here we see the figure trying to tame the lion, but I like the feeling here that the bond has already been formed. And I love this card here. By the way, this is from the Gaian, and this one is from the distant past. And I love how the lion is looking up to her. It is such a beautiful reminder. We are stronger than we think. And believe it or not, there's always someone that is looking up to us. Now here I have Tarot of the Strange Branches and Tarot of Light. Both of these kind of use that idea of the force, right? La force. But again, it's not physical force. I love how she is secluded in the night and she is tapping into this energy here. It's such a beautiful representation of the card. Now, here we have Life Force. This is from my Vision Quest. I really love this depiction because when you think about life force, it always reminds me of chi, right? Our chi. It's this idea of our strength coming not just from us, but from everything around us, right? From the energy of the sky, from the sun, from the plant energy, plant kin, right? From our animal energy. It's that idea that everything is interwoven. Now, this here is the strength card from the Sufi tarot. And I love this card. I think this is the only strength card that I have that features a young female, a child. Now, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce this, title here, but I did want to take a moment to read from the book. Now, the book speaks to finding softness of spirit. The little girl that we see has tamed a grown lion by choosing love over fear, trust over distrust, and open heartedness over egoic behavior. And I love that, right? How many times do we fall back to making choices or decisions from fear instead of from the heart? It's such a beautiful reminder. I'm going to bring this card back. I showed this just a little while ago. This is the strength card from the lovely Om. And I wanted to talk about some of the symbols that we're seeing in this card. Here we have Shakti, divine energy, power, and courage, right? The goddess Durga, divine mother that destroys the darkness. And the lion symbolizes strength, courage, and power. We can see that the figure has many arms, and in each of her arms, each of her hands, she has a weapon. And that is speaking to our many powers and abilities. And so here the guidebook says our strength and potential lie dormant within us. The Divine Mother places obstacles and difficulties in front of us to rouse our inner fire. She wants to ignite our Shakti, the inborn power, our spiritual force that can overcome all hardships. How beautiful is that? Here we have the strength card from the Mermaid Tarot, and I'm reminded of a recent hashtag that was going around where we were looking for strength cards that featured a different animal besides a lion, and this was one of the first ones that came to mind for me because here we have a whale. And it's this idea that strength does not come from our size, right? This whale is trapped in a net. And so this mermaid, as small as she is compared to the whale, has come to use her courage, her inner strength to help get the whale out of that situation. Now, this is the strength card from my Naturescapes. I was curious to see how it was represented in a deck that has no people and no animals in it. And we see this gorgeous landscape. We talked about that, this lush green landscape with the mountain in the background. Here is our focus. And I kind of see this idea of this like spiritual ascension. You know, if you've ever climbed something like this in real life, you know that it exerts a lot of energy, right? It is exhaustive, but it brings about this clarity. I can't even explain. I had an experience like this, and I was able to tap into a strength I didn't even know that I had at the time. So I love this depiction. Here we have the strength from the Glimmer Walker and strength from the Lucid Mind, right? Just a lion out in the desert. Such a beautiful card. And then here, I don't know if you can see, the Glimmer Walker is sitting right atop. You bring that in close, right on top of the lion. The idea that the Glimmer Walker is the one that is channeling that energy. And this very much feels to me like pulling in animal energy, right? Whether it be totem animal or, you know, your spirit animal. I love both of these. Now, I want to talk about a card like this here. This is the rosebud, and we see the feminine form lifting this barbell. And I think it's such a clever card. Again, I feel like this is speaking to that idea that strength is not physical. That's not the type of strength that we are talking about here. So in this card, we see a strong woman from the 1800s, and she's wearing a corset and those frilly bloomers. And she's lifting her barbell and kind of gazing off to the right. And what the guidebook says is her femininity is not separate from her strength. And I love that so much, because a lot of times, you know, we might see our femininity as a weakness, but it's actually not. It's actually part of our strength. Here we have the Strength card from the Tarot of the Guiding Muse. And I actually had to sit with this card for quite a bit of time. So let me bring this up close for you. So what's actually happening here, the central figure, her name is Emmy, and we see her here striking her drum. And actually, she's striking her drum with enough force to blast the rocks and part the clouds. And that really helped me to understand the artwork in this card a little bit better. The guidebook speaks to Emmy demonstrating raw might and channeling her inner strength to create beautiful music. And here we have the Strength card from the Cirque du Tarot. And I just love this card, because when you first look at this, you wonder, well, is this figure strength for holding her up, or is she strength for holding her balance? And I'm going to go to the guidebook for this. There is comfort in knowing that you are supported, and that no matter what, someone has your back, and that regardless of what is happening in the world around you, someone will lift you up and raise you into the spotlight. It takes courage to allow someone to elevate you, and it takes strength to be the one who holds you up. This interaction takes tremendous trust from both parties. The other person needs to trust that you won't get up and walk away, and you need to know that they won't take this support for granted. There's something deeply spiritual about this act of give and take. It is a bond so deep that trust flows through you into all of those around you. This sort of balance is not always easy to maintain and takes time to master, but given the right set of conditions, something beautiful can be exchanged. That is so good. I love, love that idea that it's a combination of both, right? Strength and courage. Such a beautiful card. And I hope that you are seeing that strength doesn't dominate, it harmonizes, right? It's the power that whispers, it doesn't shout. Friends, if you love tarot and this content resonates with you, please make sure to like and subscribe. Tap the bell icon so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you so much for being here. Here I have the Strength card from the Lucid Minds Tarot. This is what I'm going to use for our card reading. And today we have a 3-card reading on the energy of strength. So I'm leaving the Strength card out as a significator, right? We're reading on the energy of strength and what that could mean for us at this moment in time. So for card number 1, what needs softening? Knight of Swords. And then we're gonna go on to card number 2. Where is your life force calling you? Where is your life force calling you? And then the final card, card 3. What supports your inner power? 6 of Swords. Wow. Okay. Let me get this in frame. Let's take a closer look at the cards. So we have in position 1 the Knight of Swords. What needs softening? So here we're wanting to think about, where there might be tension or maybe rigidity, defensiveness. That's another thing that we might see. Where could we possibly ask for compassion? We have the Knight of Swords. Now, this particular Knight of Swords, is probably one of the most, I would call, energetic of all of the knights. And so perhaps here we're being called to look at the way that we communicate with others, right? Maybe what we need to soften is our communication style, the way that we deliver messages, the words that we choose, right? Maybe we need to soften our approach. Maybe this could mean talking less and listening more, right? Seeking to understand, not jumping to conclusions. It's a beautiful, beautiful message. And then we have card 2. Where is your life force calling you? So here this question is asking us to tune in, right? Tune into the direction of our passion, our vitality, our creative energy. Where are we being called? We have the 6 of Pentacles. This is the card of reciprocity, right? This is the card of give and take. And in this particular deck, we are seeing the hands, in an offering. Perhaps we're being called to explore our relationships. Where are we giving too much? Where are we taking too much? Where is there a need for a little bit of balance or alignment? Or perhaps even allowing space. Then we have card number 3, what supports your inner power? Okay, this is a question that is going to kind of show our resources, right? Relationships or maybe even practices that we use to help us stay rooted in our strength. We have here the Six of Swords. I always see this card as the card of kind of being open to embarking on a new journey, right? Kind of charting your course, moving away from something that really isn't giving you any peace of mind, and seeking clarity or direction. So, what supports your inner power? Perhaps it's knowing when it's time to let something go and to walk away, or to start fresh, or to take a break, right? I'm thinking with this card here, Knight of Swords, sometimes our communication can be aggressive or harsh. And with the Six of Swords, it's almost like inviting this moment to kind of take a pause and a step back for reflection. Sixes are about reflection and about finding harmony. And we have double six energy here. We have Six of Pentacles and Six of Swords. I think it's a beautiful reading, calling us to kind of recalibrate in a sense, maybe take a look at our tone, at our choice of words, at the timing that we deliver messages. And, with the Six of Pentacles, we have that idea of, yes, reciprocity, yes, give and take, but also like, are we giving our energy to the right things? Is it a mutual give and take, right? Because if it isn't, then maybe it's time to change things up just a bit. And that might be something that's very difficult to do for us. But again, this is where we're going to pull in this energy here of strength and courage. I love this. I feel like this reading is reminding us that strength isn't it's not a destination, right? It's a practice. It's something that we have to remind ourselves to do on a daily basis. It's a wonderful way to connect with our truth, our tenderness, even our wildness. As we close this chapter, I invite you to reflect. Where are you being asked to soften in your power? And what does strength look like when no one is watching? Next, we will be taking the journey into the Hermit. This is the archetype of solitude, soul teaching, and inner wisdom. Until then, may your breath be your anchor and your strength be your sanctuary. See you next time.